You must know these 10 things or your DJ career may never take off. I'm a professional DJ with almost 15 years of experience, and in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to reveal the 10 things new DJs must know when first getting started on the path to becoming a professional DJ. When I first decided I was going to take that path, I started looking for places that needed a DJ without having ever touched a DJ controller. And that was the first of 10 things new DJs must know. Getting a DJ gig or job with no experience is a mistake. DJing is hard work. Just like learning to play a new instrument, you have to invest time and energy into practicing before you're ready to give your first real performance in front of a crowd. Going from just practicing in your room for 1 or 2 hours to DJing a real 4 to 8 hour set is a big step, and you will absolutely hate DJing if you aren't prepared for your first gig. For example, I had a friend call me one day and say he wanted to give DJing a try. I immediately got excited and I told him, "Great, I can help you get started." And he said, "I was really hoping you would say that because I have a wedding booked out for about 3 months from now." My jaw dropped. You guys, unless you're under the guidance of specifically a wedding DJ, in my opinion, a wedding being your first gig is an awful idea. Not only that, but just 3 months of experience DJing is not nearly enough time to take on a job of that magnitude. From 0 months to 3, you should be practicing, building your music library, and building your DJ stamina. We'll talk about more for what your first gig should be in a later part of the video. To learn to DJ, you're going to need a DJ controller. Huge shocker, right? Well, that's the second thing new DJs must know. The very first DJ controller you buy as a beginner should be beginner friendly. Do not, I repeat, do not go crazy buying some $500 or $1,000 controller if you haven't tried DJing before. If I had to guess, I would only say I use about 20 to 30% of my entire controller's features to get me through DJing one night. That being said, I promise if you go out and buy a Pioneer DJ Opus Quad 4-channel system as your first DJ starter deck, you're going to be looking at this absolutely massive DJ controller. Like, what the hell is this $3,200 spaceship I'm trying to navigate right now? The 2 entry controllers that I would recommend would be the Pioneer DDJ FLX4 and the Pioneer Rev 1. The FLX4 is $299 while the Rev 1 comes in at $279. At basically the same price, the major differences between the 2 DJ controllers is that the FLX is compatible with multiple DJ interfaces like Serato Lite, Serato Pro, the DJ app, iOS devices, and Android devices. The Rev 1, on the other hand, is only Serato compatible, meaning you can't use the Rev 1 with any other DJ program that's not Serato or Serato Pro, or so I thought. If you look on Pioneer's website, it only lists the Rev 1 as being Serato compatible. Looking at the Algorithms website, the Rev 1, along with plenty other controllers, are compatible with the DJ app, as it will detect it as an external MIDI and will correctly pre-map your controller. You can even customize the mapping if you choose to do so. I like the FLX4 layout over the Rev 1 layout, so I would personally go with the FLX4, but those jog wheels on the Rev 1 made it a very close second. Once you've made your choice and you've acquired your first DJ controller, the third thing you should know as a new DJ is that you cannot practice enough. Remember talking about this earlier? After about 6 months of practicing almost daily, I was comfortable enough with DJing that I would start to go from practicing 4 to 5 times a week to 2 to 3 times a week, then down to about once a week, then about once a month, and you get where I'm going with this. I started to practice less the more I got comfortable with my DJ controller. But when I got comfortable with the DJ program, that's when I really stopped practicing altogether. Kind of like riding a bike. You never forget, but if it has been some years, you're probably gonna wobble a couple of times. If you can hop on the DJ deck and it's been a few weeks, your first transitions are probably gonna be trash. Not practicing also leads to not being creative, and you will be stuck repeating the same mix over and over and over because that's the only thing you're comfortable with, and nobody wants to make a mistake when DJing live. Trust me, I've made plenty. It absolutely gets boring practicing in your room alone, but remember, your end goal is to play live in front of real people. Why not practice live in front of real people too? If you live with family or friends, or if you can have them come over, ask them what kind of music they like to listen to, or even better, have them build you a small list of songs that they like and invite them to come and listen to you practice. Ask for feedback. The more you do this, the more you will be comfortable with DJing music of all different kinds of genres. During this phase of learning how to use your tools and practice practicing with them, you should also know this fourth thing. You're going to need a vast music library. Nothing feels worse as a DJ than improving your final sound check and thinking you're ready to perform only to find out you don't have the right music, or that the quality of the music that you have is terrible, or that you just don't have enough music to get you through the night. There are plenty of DJ pool services, and I believe Spotify also partners with some DJ programs, so this really shouldn't be an issue you should be allowing to happen. Personally, I own all of my music, and I like the idea that I don't have to rely on a program that requires internet connection to DJ. Sure, some DJ pool services and Spotify will offer offline downloads with a paid subscription, but I would rather invest that money into owning the music itself. If I drive 30 to 45 minutes in any direction, I'll be in a rural area. While the scenery is beautiful and offers more privacy for parties, there's hardly any cell phone service at many of these locations, much less Wi-Fi, so it often ends up being a wash either way. If this doesn't apply to you and you're never going to be performing in a rural area, then maybe the DJ pool or a Spotify service may just work best for you. Just weigh your options carefully. You don't want to end up spending a ton of money buying music, because basically if you decide DJing isn't for you, that's the one thing you can't return or sell back. And chances are, if you're like me, you use a music streaming service anyway for your personal life, and you wouldn't be buying the music in the first place. Be careful with having music that is too new, and be careful with having music that is too old. Know your audience and prepare to have clean versions of all your music. I don't ever remember someone specifically asking me for explicit versions of music. Lastly, on this topic, you should have plenty of music in your music category and a main playlist prepared way before your gig. And you should also take the time to create a second alternative playlist as a backup, so you ensure that you never run out of music. Repeating songs, unless specifically requested, is never a good thing. Your audience will notice. At this point, you have your DJ controller, you've practiced for some time, and feel confident DJing in front of your friends and family, and you've established a thick music library. The fifth thing you should know is you're officially ready to book your very first gig. While very exciting, unfortunately, you probably won't be going on tour with your favorite artist as their opening DJ just yet. So you're gonna have to start small like the rest of us. A few examples of perfect first-time gigs are going to include the classic friend or family member who's having a small party for whatever occasion, a small church event, a child's birthday party, and fundraisers. The point of these types of gigs are that the music isn't the main focus and more of just background noise, so the pressure on you as a DJ is not nearly as high. I'm just going to repeat one more time that you should not take on a wedding as your first gig, regardless of how confident you feel DJing. I would argue that even experienced DJs shouldn't take on a wedding without first shadowing a wedding DJ through an entire reception and ceremony at least one time. When booking your first gig, try to keep it under 2 hours, but absolutely no more than 4. As you're booking your first gig, you may be asked a question you may not yet have thought of. What's your price? You're not gonna like this answer, but you shouldn't be charging anything for your first couple of gigs, and instead you should be taking in that experience and asking for feedback. One benefit this gives you is having an additional layer of pressure off, as the person you're providing the service for knows that you're getting started and may make several mistakes, hence not charging a rate. This is how you start to build trust, repeat customers, and referrals from those repeat customers. You do often get tips if you do a good job though. Now those are all you. After you have 5 to 10 gigs under your belt, you'll have enough experience to reasonably charge a rate based on your client's location, length of event time, and equipment needed for that event. Don't be afraid to turn down offers if the money isn't right, but also don't take advantage of people who may not know any better and are unknowingly paying for a level of service you are not yet, emphasis on the yet, capable of providing. Backtracking just a little bit, no one ever mentioned that I should be protecting my hearing during these long sessions of listening to loud music. After you get your first gig booked, the next thing you should know as a DJ is that you should always prioritize protecting your hearing. Sure, there's plenty of space between you and the speakers are facing away from you. You should also be wearing in-ear hearing protection that fits comfortably when placing your DJ headphones over your ears. Noise-canceling earbuds also help if you don't have in-ear protectors. Try to keep your headphones on at all times to provide a sound barrier between you and the speakers. I didn't do this for the first year or so of DJing in my career, and the ringing on my ears after a gig would almost last 2 days. It's miserable. Please protect yourself and your audience. Control your volume levels. Once you're at the point you're having to schedule out multiple gigs, the 8th thing you should know as a DJ is that you will get burnt out quickly if you don't pace yourself out and spread out those events. Most smaller events that I do are in the late afternoon or evening. and that's often right after getting off of my regular 9 to 5 job. Those wake up at 6 a.m. and get home at 3 a.m. days are exhausting, especially one weekend after another. Having a full work schedule and a full DJ schedule doesn't leave much room for an unexpected life event, and it's not like you have a replacement DJ available if you can't make it to your gig. You just have to cancel last minute and hope that you didn't burn that bridge for future business. Keeping a good work, life, and DJ balance is key. And once you've established a healthy pace, the second to last thing that you should know as a new DJ is that the professional tools that you use need regular updates. Avoiding technical issues while DJing live is as easy as making sure you have your DJ controller up to date, your DJ controller software, firmware, and drivers up to date as well. This also applies to the operating systems on the computers that you're using to make sure that the DJ program of your choice is also up to date. I do want to add a note here that some DJ programs send a notice to some users if they should refrain from an update for any reason. While it is important to stay updated, also stay up to date with the communication from the DJ program developers. This directly ties in with the final thing new DJs should know, and that is to keep up with regular maintenance on all of your equipment. You're constantly going to be putting up your DJ setup and taking it down, and sometimes equipment or accessories can get damaged. While you're checking for updates across all of your tools, carefully inspect all of your cables, chargers, power adapters, solid state drives, hard drives. You understand all of it. Replace and order any replacement part for anything that's damaged, and order a spare or two since you know that part is susceptible to future damage. If you need it ASAP, check for a Guitar Center near you or a Best Buy, or lastly a Walmart or Target. If you notice that while practicing or DJing live, you had an issue with your computer or DJ controller, run diagnostics to ensure that there are no hardware issues that need to be addressed. Keep your equipment running smoothly by cleaning it regularly. Lightly clean the surface of the DJ controller so that no debris gets inside of your sliders, the buttons, or jog wheels, and clean your computer to ensure no debris gets inside of the keyboard. Clean the screen of both devices with an electronic approved wipe so that the display remains clear and easily visible. Having clean equipment is a sign that you take pride in what you do, unless you're in like the oil field, I guess, right? The dirtier the better, I guess. As a thank you for staying with me until the end of the video, I'm gonna throw in one bonus thing I think new DJs should know. Dude, it feels freaking amazing when you book your first gig, and 15 years later, it feels just as amazing when I book my next one. But let me take you through this real quick. Imagine practicing daily for 6 months, and during those 6 months of practice, you're working hard to land a gig. You finally land the gig, and the day comes that you're gonna DJ. Everything is going fantastic. Out of the corner of your eye, you see the person who hired you is approaching your booth and offers you a drink. Of course you're gonna take it. You deserve it, right? If you're a person who drinks, then right. Yes, absolutely. You set a goal and you accomplished it, and that deserves recognition. You just have to remember you are still working and you are the face of your business. I limit myself to no more than 2 drinks per night, and I don't drink more than 1 drink per hour. Drinking and DJing just doesn't mix well. First, you shouldn't have food or drink around your equipment, and that's already bending the first rule. And second, DJing drunk, you just don't sound good. Trust me. I may or may not know this from experience. Thank goodness for being at a friend's house where everyone thought it was hilarious, and not at a client's house where they would have probably just told me to stop and get up and leave. You're responsible for so much expensive equipment, and then you have to drive yourself and this expensive equipment after a long, tiring night. Don't be stupid and add alcohol to this mix. Always call friends or family for help if you party a little too hard, but please just don't party too hard. When you take on the responsibility of being the DJ for the night, you are the party, and you owe it to your audience and yourself to have a fun and safe time. Thank you for staying till the end. Check out this video if you want to learn how to make a DJ mix inside of a DAW.